Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, where you're from. And a really warm welcome to today's session. So, the day in the life of a platform owner. So, which obviously the role I'm in is so my title is the product owner, but I also do a platform owner role as well. So, we're going to talk about the real high, lows, and lessons learned. And I'm really kind of glad that you could join us for Community Week. So whether you're a platform owner, you're a product owner, you're a developer, an admin, or someone that's new in the ServiceNow ecosystem, today's session is all about pulling back that curtain on what that role is really like. So it's not just about dashboards or delivery plans. It's all about balancing strategy and chaos. So in my line of work, there is a lot of chaos, but there's also the people, the process. But for me, it's about finding that purpose in all that middle of it. So over the next hour, we're going to share stories, lessons, and practical insights that really kind of come from the real experience. And for me, it's the moments that makes this role, I'm not going to be lying in terms of it's going to be an easy role. It's a challenging role, but it's a balance out, and it's incredible rewarding in terms of the role that I'm in at the moment. So I'll take us through in terms of the typical day in the life. Then we'll dive into interactive breakout discussions where you can all connect, share your own experience, and also learn from others across the ecosystem. So if you got your coffee, get your drink, we'll settle in and yeah, we'll get ready for an open, honest, and fun conversation and what it really means to be a platform owner. So let's get started. So what we've got lined up for today's roundtable is I'll start off with a quick welcome. I think, Tammy, you've given me a quick welcome and introductions, but I'll give a bit of a high level just for people that may not know me. Just obviously a bit background on my journey as a platform owner. Then we'll move into terms of the icebreaker polls. So something like to get everyone, in terms of what your platform superpower that you like to have, and why you're joining in the community week. And after that, I'll take us through the day of a live segment. So behind the scenes look at what a platform owner actually does, from managing priorities to stakeholders to reviewing dashboards and strategy. And then we're going to open it for a Q&A before we jump into the free interactive breakout discussions where you'll get to share ideas, challenges, and lessons learned with others in the room. So my aim today is to make this session practical, honest, and interactive. So feel free to join in and share your thoughts and take something valuable away today. So I'm Jerry Wong. I'm a product owner at the University of Birmingham. In terms of my career journey, I started mostly working on the service desk, and I think I've been working on the service desk for around, I'd say about 17 years. And then I've been obviously working in higher education for about 19 years. So I've learned really kind of understand what good service really means. And, I've worked my way into kind of that product ownership and then platform strategy. So what have I learned for being a platform owner? It's not just about technology. It's all about connecting people and solving problems, and in terms of just shaping how we get work done. And I enjoyed that mix of there's the chaos, there's the creativity about 1 minute you could be fixing incidents, the next that you could be working with a business that you're understanding what the pain points are and then coming up with those solutions and making a real difference. And in the community, I'm involved. I'm a current MVP, active in the ServiceNow community. Obviously, as V mentioned, co-hosting the London Developer Meetup. And purpose of my session, obviously, is to cover the real day-to-day life of a platform owner. Okay, so I'll move on to the next one. So, Tanvi, I'm going to ask you to help me with some the poll questions. So thank you. So yeah, we've got the first poll is every platform needs a guardian. What's your platform owner superpower? So we'll just give a few minutes for everyone to answer.
Okay, looks like almost 70% of you have answered, so we're going to give you guys 10 more seconds. Okay, gonna end the poll now.
Okay, interested to see what the results. Wow, yeah, aligning vision delivery, which is good. And we've got translating business speak with tech speak, 18%, and keeping the platform healthy and scalable. Yeah, no, definitely. I think aligning vision and delivery is an important one because you are platform owning the platform. So that's a really good superpower to have. And yeah, translating business speak with tech speak as well. Okay, thank you for doing that. And I've got a second poll, second question, which is, what's your main reason for joining Community Week?
Okay, a few more seconds. There's just a few of you that haven't answered yet.
Okay,
Okay, ending the poll now.
thanks, Tanvi. Yeah, totally agree, everyone. Yeah, to learn something new and also yeah, you've got the to get inspired and re-energized. So perfect. I'm also here, yeah, I think for me as well to share my experience and obviously connecting with everyone else in the community. So thank you for answering those questions. So I'll move on to the next one. So I'm going to cover obviously my own journey. So again, just obviously a disclaimer, this is just all from my own experience. So my own experience and my own knowledge. But for me as a platform owner, I think that one of the most important parts of the role is, being that custodian of the platform vision. So as you mentioned in the poll, is having that, grand vision, understanding, what that bigger picture looks like, and also making sure that everything that we build and then we change and improve on the platform, kind of all connects back to that organizational purpose and strategy. So, why are we doing this? Why are we developing, or why are we, having a change or enhancement on the platform? So it's not just about managing features or releases, it's about protecting the integrity of the platform. So we want to make sure it's scalable, it's trusted, and it's also valuable over time. So as a good platform owner, we need to act as a bridge to business goals and technical reality. So what is feasible and what's realistic in the organization, because sometimes we may not have all the technology as we have, but we want to be able to translate strategy into action. We want to be able to help teams understand why something matters and not just what needs to be done. And for me, in my role, it's all about saying no, but it's not saying no, but it's not right now. But also you've got to understand as well, if that requirement or that ask that's coming into you as a platform owner doesn't align with that long-term vision, then we've got to be empowered to say no, and we've got to be able to champion as well those things that drive sustainable value. So being that custodian isn't about control, is about stewardship. And it ensures that the platform evolves with purpose. We've got to ensure that the governance supports innovation, and then also the work that we do set for the stage for tomorrow's success. So, as I mentioned, we wanted to bridge the between business and technology. We want to be able to translate, taking those business goals, and we want to be able to turn them into something that the platform can actually deliver. So once on one side, we've got stakeholders asking for outcomes, faster onboarding, better visibility, and improved service experience. On the other side, that I've got to speak to is also the developers, admins, citizen developers, and they all focus on data models, workflows, technical visibility. And for me as a platform owner, I sit right in the middle between the business stakeholders and also the developers. So I want to make sure those two worlds stay connected. And for me also, I'm acting more like an internal salesperson as well to advocate for the platform within their internal organization. And it's all about asking those right questions. Is what's the real problem we're trying to solve? What does success look like for us as an organization? And then also how the platform can support that. And how does it all fit into that bigger picture? And that value really comes from balance, is helping the business understand the limits of the platform, and also helping the technical teams see the business context behind their work. Because what you want to make sure is that the developers are doing configuration or developing a solution, they really understand why they're doing it for the business. So we need to have that connection. That's why, as a conduit, as a bridge, I make sure I connect all those parts and all those dots. So when you've got that balance right, the platform will just stop being a tool and it will start becoming a true enabler of change within your organization. Okay, so one being a platform owner, it means is being a leader of people and collaboration. The role isn't about titles or hierarchy. For me, it's about influence, empathy, and connection. And I want to make sure that, as a platform owner, we don't manage teams directly. We lead through alignment. So we bring developers, citizen developers, stakeholders, and users all around that shared goal. And we want to be able to create an environment where everyone's voice is heard and we're invested in the outcome, and making sure that we co-create that value. And I find that the best platform cultures are built on trust. And when people, feel safe to speak up, experiment, and even fail a little, that's when innovation happens. So for me, as a platform owner, the real superpower isn't just managing the platform, it's leading the people that will bring it to life. Because I think that technology can automate process, but it's a collaboration that drives progress. So I want to just give a very snapshot in terms of my, essential, daily activities of a platform owner. So first thing I do on a Monday or each morning, I look at the agile board. I check progress across the sprint. I spot if there's any blockers, just making sure that there's the right priorities are moving forward. So it's just like a quick pulse check to make sure that we keep delivery aligned to the vision. In terms of monitoring the platform and health dashboards, is making sure, again, we are providing the platform as a operational tool to the organization. So we want to make sure it's healthy. Do we have any incidents? Do we have any requests that we need to progress? Any change trends that we need to be aware of? So it's not just about data. It's about the stories that we have on the platform, and those metrics will tell us in terms of as a team, is where are some of those users might be struggling, or have we made progress through automation and process improvement. And then there's engage with stakeholders. So a big part of my day is having those conversations with our stakeholders, whether it's refining requirements, managing expectations, simply connecting those dots between each of those teams. And that's where I find that there's a lot of hidden value that's unlocked, is, for me to be able to understand what people actually need and not what they ask for. And then also, again, refine and prioritize that backlog. Is, again, if you've got a big long list of enhancements or issues or things that we need to add value to, is understanding how we, again, what goes top on that list. And that's something that we do as a team together as well. Supporting developers and citizen developers. So each of maybe what we have on like a Monday morning, we have a team meeting that we speak to each other, just to give our general updates, what we're working on, anything we've learned new, or again, a bit of a show and tell as well, what people have developed, so people can see exactly what they're working on, and they're able to share knowledge. And having the capturing insights and lessons learned. So as part of we work in an agile way of working, we have something called a sprint retrospective. We look at how we've worked as a team in a current sprint, and we identify, okay, how can we work better next time? What are the issues that we face in this current sprint? So again, it's being transparent and just being honest with each other as a team, and saying, right, how can we continue service improve by improving the next sprint and be better? Okay, some essential tools for a platform owner. So, as I mentioned, to have a look at the agile board, you need the ServiceNow. So obviously there's a strategic portfolio management, which is SPM, demand management. So having those tools really can understand what's coming in and what you're prioritizing, and sort, arranging that work, organizing that work within each sprint. The ServiceNow product documentation is a key official source of truth for something that I would basically it's the Bible, the ServiceNow Bible that I would go to be able to look out for platform features, configuration options, and again any release notes as well when you're doing upgrades. And if you're having any sort of issues as well, product documentation is a place to go to as well. Community and network, so internal and external. So for me, I think the community is quite powerful, and it's one of my favorite parts of being in the ServiceNow ecosystem is community. Because if you've got an issue with the platform or you're trying to find out more information, the community itself, where you're troubleshooting, you can just post a message and the community will really kind of help and answer that question. But also the obviously internal community as well. So within your own organizational community. So you could have community of practices to be able to share knowledge and really can understand what the platform can do for the organization. AI, I use AI as a tool for Copilot. So again, I use, Microsoft Copilot, really help me streamline and help me bounce off some ideas. And because there's a lot of things I'm doing around context switching. I need a tool to really help me streamline like communication, maybe refining the user stories. But I'm also quite excited about the new capability called Build Agent, which I know is being shown on Community Week this week. It's something that I can turn some of those ideas, rather than I'm talking about it, I can provide it as a proof of concept. Then we have the ServiceNow personal developer instance. This is what I would normally go to that if I want to explore and experiment with new capabilities or even just troubleshooting. If something maybe that's not working on the platform, I just want to just have a look at, oh, is that sort of behavior on that's on within the PDI? And that's a really good resource to go to. And as I mentioned earlier, the operational reporting dashboards is a key resource for understanding the metrics around incidents, requests, and also subscription management as well. So as a platform owner, you're looking after all the subscriptions within the ServiceNow platform. So the highs, lows, and lessons learned. So I want to maybe give you understanding of the highs. For me, it's seeing the real impact, how the organizational sees how are we making their lives easier by using the platform. The team collaboration is developer, admin, stakeholders, get together, really having those discussions, whether it's through user testing, it's through backlog refinement, those discussions. And then also just looking how we can grow the platform. So how can we adopt the platform across the organization as well, whether it's in IT, HR, finance, legal. And some of the lows that I see for me experience is, is competing priorities. Everyone wants their things to be done first. So it's really understanding, I suppose, it's the value. We can't deliver everything at once, but, managing those expectations is half the battle. And as I mentioned, context switching, I'm spinning so many plates at the moment. And it's making sure that you have a focus time as well, just to understand, okay, I've got a to-do list. These are the things that I'm going to be prioritizing to work on. And some of the lessons learned for me is communication beats perfection. And what I mean is that people don't expect you to have all the answers. They value that honesty. And as long as you know how to direct people to the information that you need them to have, that's fine. And clarity as well for me is, having that clear backlog, clear priorities, and also ensuring you've got clear goals to keep everyone aligned. And the third one is that collaboration. As I mentioned, collaborate with stakeholders, with users, really understanding where those key business pain points are so you can really support them on their journey. Okay. I think before we do the breakout topics, are there any questions and answers for me from my own journey? Don't know whether Tammy, you got any questions. I haven't looked into the chat at the
Yeah,
moment.
that's okay. I haven't seen any in the chat, but if you have any at all, please feel free to put them in the Q&A. And as Mark Pergola put in the chat, we definitely want to collect all of you guys' community profile usernames so that you get a badge for attending this session. But yeah, Jerry, it doesn't seem like people have questions as of right now. So if we want, we can move on to the breakout topic. So,
Yeah,
oh,
great.
actually,
That's my
Kathy has a question. Do you manage developers?
Hi, Kathy. No, I don't manage developers. I work alongside our developers. So they, in terms of the structure, the team structure, is because we work in a product team. So I'm the product owner. I work alongside 5 developers, but we also have citizen developers as well, and then also an agile delivery manager. So we're very much a self-sufficient team where we discuss issues, and so I don't line manage anyone in that sense, Kathy.
Awesome. Thanks, Jerry. I know that we actually have a couple more questions. They're coming in through the chat. Um, so Hale is asking, can you quickly share any ideas related to working with conflicting requirements and how to use your focus time?
So it's a very good question, Sohei. Yeah, I mean, obviously, conflicting requirements. I suppose it all comes and stems back to the value and the organized, in terms of what you're trying to achieve in the bigger picture. So, having those clear discussions with stakeholders and saying, right, where does that link back to the strategic objective? Because ultimately, we're putting the effort in for developing a solution. We want to make sure we focus our time in on the right thing at the right time. So maybe there is a requirement again, it's conflicting with something else. It's having those honest conversations, and again, as I mentioned, that communication with those business stakeholders, and you could have those stakeholders all together as well to say, let's put everything onto the table on the board, say these are the things that we're trying to deliver, and what is valuable to the organization. So if everyone understands that, then they have a good understanding, say, right, okay, we understand why this needs to be done, because it's valuable, because it's going to support efficiency, it's going to give a better employee experience. So yeah, it's clearly having those communication.
Okay, awesome. And then it looks like we have two or three more questions. So we'll take those and then we'll go into the breakouts. So the next question is about actually just lost it because it's in the chat. Uh,
It's okay.
Mark, do
I
you
got
see
you.
the
Yeah.
ESM
So
question? Okay.
the next question, remind me, let's see. So did you already ask the question, Tammy, of which are the roles you need to set up in your team in order to manage the platform?
No, but we can do that one next and then we'll
Great.
do the
That
ESM.
would be the next question, Jerry. So which are the roles you need to set up in your team in order to manage the platform?
It is a very interesting question, because every organization is different. It really depends on whether you're a small, large organization. But for me, I think essentially you need developers. You'll need a business analyst to understand the requirements. Um, Also a technical architect, or solution architect as well, to really kind of understand from a governance perspective. Because if you're managing ServiceNow within the organization, you need to be able to understand from a bigger picture perspective of how it's architecturally designed to ensure that you are developing and configuring and onboarding the business areas appropriately. Because what you don't want to be doing, and I've seen this before, where you've got different business areas that are working quite siloed, and they want this, and we need to understand if they want to use ServiceNow, is it the right choice for them to use it? Because they might be using something else, and it needs, for me, it's that alignment piece. It's to make sure it's aligned across the business, that we are proving the value rather than we're creating another siloed way of working.
Awesome. Thanks.
Hopefully that makes sense.
Um, we have two more questions. So Krishna's asking, have you worked on any ESM implementation and developed any roadmaps from that?
It's a good question around. So ESM stands for Enterprise Service Management. So I hope that's what he means by that. So in terms of implementation, yes, we are looking towards enterprise service management as a whole, but we have done small different implementations across things like HR, finance. There are other business unit areas that we've gone to. So again, it all depends on your organizational strategy. If the appetite is that, we can't all go enterprise service management all at once. So it's to really understand how you can start to, start small and get something into the business to say, what, this is something we can show that we've done this with a business area, and what that value is, that rather than them using spreadsheets or mailbox, they're using ServiceNow. They can see the value. They've got better reporting, they've got management information, and the teams are working more efficiently and effectively. So I hope that makes sense around that enterprise service management, but that's something that we are working towards.
Okay, thanks, Jerry. And the last question that we're going to take, just in the interest of time, is Keith's question. How does a platform owner balance governance and innovation, especially when multiple business units want to build on the platform?
It's a very good question, and you've got to have that strong support from the senior leadership team as well, because for me is you're setting this a governance to making sure that you've got the guardrails in place, to say that, okay, well, do we want to ensure that we're using things that are out of the box, and we are not going to do customizations? Because if we're going to do customization, how are we going to support that going forward? Because you need additional support, because when we carry out upgrades or patching, then you'll need to build, you need more resource and more time. So if there's any new features or capabilities that come out, where ServiceNow will release twice a year, will those customizations work? Because sometimes if they don't, then you're creating yourself more technical debt to manage that. So again, it's really having a strong platform governance, and that communication is backed up by senior leadership to support that. No, I just want to say thank you for everyone for joining and just hearing more about the platform owner role. But also, I think we've also I've heard from others here that's also being on that journey as well. And again, please do connect up with me afterwards, because I'm really kind of keen to hear your stories, and again, we can just share some knowledge around how we manage the platform going forward. So but yeah, here's just a list of resources that we'll share, that for anyone that is wanting to be a platform owner. There's obviously on-demand courses and some documentation sites as well. So thank you.